How's it going, Alestrians? My name's Luck, aka Luck, and even though we've had a rough first couple of weeks this season, we're not giving up. We're here to play. We're going to play our hardest these next two matches. This week I'm playing Eagletheduck in his mono win deck. Deck prep and profile coming at you. Let's go. Alright, Alestrians, so like I said in the intro, my week 3 opponent is Eagletheduck. He's piling in mono win this season, and he's got a pretty strong deck here. Wind has the potential to go toe-to-toe with most of the meta decks in the game, and the reason behind that is it has a lot of rune control, and we're going to go over that as we go over these cards. I got it split up into he's definitely bringing, somewhat not super confident, but I could still see it, and these cards over here he's definitely not bringing. Not that I'm not expecting them. I'm not expecting him to bring these 5. And these are his runes down here, and we'll go over that when we get to that point. But let's start with the definitely bringing. Sorlet, S tier card in normal format, S plus tier card in mono format. And the reason why is because his effect, there's no answer for Sorlet. When Sorlet hits the field, he is definitely 100% getting a position shift on an opponent's Celestial. So P-Gust, rune control, small body, but still rune control. Great little card. Aramare, beefy body. His effect doesn't really come into play that often. A lot of people don't run Aramare for the effect. A lot of people actually misenchant it, but a lot of people don't run it for its effect. But I could totally see him trying to use its effect when he attaches it to Falacane, and Falacane is the big threat this week. Falacane gets out, he can wipe the board clear of runes, and he's free to just go to town on my Alestrals. So we definitely have to watch out for Falacane. We got to keep like a Laurels or something in hand for when Falacane gets out, even though he does have an answer for that too, which we'll go over later. These cards in the middle, like I said, these are kind of maybe brings. I'm not like 100% confident that he's going to bring any of these 6, but we'll see. Exaltair used to be way better before it got nerfed. Its stats used to be, I think it was 4-3. Yeah, I think it was 4-3, and back then it was main deck every time when you're playing Wind. It's kind of fallen out of favor, especially as more cards have gone or have entered the set as time has gone on, and prior to Kickstarter it did get nerfed, so now it's a 3-2 attack, or a 3 attack 2 defense. Still same effect, but it's not a bad card by any means. He can definitely get a search off with Aeolus and get it to his hand just for a little chip damage, so he can ensure the win on a particular turn. Carrion's a kind of a weird one because it's super kind of situational, I would say. It's definitely an out for some tougher Alestrals. It's kind of like a one-turn change of heart, and it just kind of gets you an out for some tougher Alestrals, but I could totally see him bringing it. Hydrake, Twindra, and Pantera. So if you had asked me at the beginning of the season, I would have said he's not bringing these any of the weeks, and the reason why is they are very, very expensive to go into. Hydrake, you're basically just sacrificing your Hydrake. You want it out in the field and you want it to be killed so you can go into your Twindra. But that costs 2. One for the actually it costs 3. 1 for the Hydrake and then 2 for the Twindra. And then going into Twindra, now you're at 6 because you have these 3 plus the 3 for Pantera, right? So you can ramp up quickly and get a big body on board, but it doesn't really do much else once it's on the board, right? You can, if it's destroyed by card effect, you can go back into a bunch of Hydrakes and Twindras, but that's even more expensive. So I would have never said that he's going to bring these, except last week he did main deck Hydrake and Twindra, and he sideboarded Pantera. So I could totally see him bringing these, and the reason why is because these 3 kind of play head games, right? If I see Hydrake, I'm immediately thinking that he's trying to go into Pantera. But like I said last week, he didn't have Pantera in the main deck, and it kind of threw his opponent last week off just a little bit. So I could see him kind of playing mind games. He might bring all 3. If he thinks that I think he's not going to bring Pantera, he might surprise me with one, and vice versa. I could be so focused on trying to stop a Pantera plan, he might not even have one. So these 3 give him a lot of flexibility. Chrysor, This one is kind of slept on. It's a great 2-cost Celestial. It's got one of the highest attacks in the game for a 2-cost. It can attack your opponent directly, and when you do attack directly, you get to win back from the underworld. Great card. I don't understand why it doesn't get more play, but yeah, so I could totally see him bringing this this week, and yeah, I don't really have a great answer for it if he does, but you know, we're just gonna play. These 5 over here, like I said, these are cards that I'm not expecting him to bring at all. Peliquarius searches you a water from your deck. He's not running water, so he's not going to bring this. He's got better defensive options. He doesn't need a 4-body. Glidesdale is just a beater. Doesn't really do much for the strategy of wind, although he could surprise me, but I'm not expecting it at all. And then these 3 down here, Nimbug, Sirikun, and Stratamoth, same kind of deal with the Hydrake, Twindra, and Pantera. The only difference is if you're going to run Nimbug, you pretty much have to run Sirikun, and if you're going to run Sirikun, you pretty much have to run Stratamoth, because these cards are okay on their own. These cards are useless on their own, right? So, I don't expect him to bring these. It's super expensive for very little return. Stratamoth can bounce runes from your opponent, but other than that, I mean, I don't expect it. It's not a great strat for wind. And then down here in his runes, he's got Aeolus, one of the best divine runes, probably tied with Zeus in my opinion. Enchant up to 4 on it, and you can disenchant 2 from it to search for any 1-cost wind Celestial. Great card, just gives him an answer. It allows him to reach into the toolbox and pick out any tool that he needs to get to win the situation on the board. Bag of Winds. So when I was saying before, if he gets Falicane out with Airmare attached to him, if he gets a Bag of Winds on Falicane, I legitimately kind of just lose at that point. And the reason why is Airmare stops him from being targeted by Celestial effects. Bag of Winds stops him from being targeted by opponent's runes, right? So each turn he can bounce all my runes back to my hand if I decide to set any. And Bag of Winds makes it so that I can't Laurels him. So if he gets this combo out, I just kind of lose at that point. Might as well scoop, go to game 2. But yeah, so this is one that I got to look out for. Tornado, even more rune control. Target an opponent's rune and return it to their hand. It doesn't do as much as P-Gust, and it doesn't have a body on it, but you can play Tornado and still summon something else. So I can totally see him bringing Tornado. This week, I'm going to be honest, I don't really see him running Isle of Aeolia. And the reason why is because his kind of best 1-cost beater, Sorlet, can already get over most Celestials in the format, right? Even higher cost Celestials it can get over. It's crazy. It can get over a Twindra. It can get over almost everything on this board except for Glidesdale and Stratamoth and Pantera. But so I don't see him needing Isle. Aramir's the same kind of deal. It's just a beefy body, get it on board. If he puts it in defense mode, I mean, my Necruff can't get over it. Volcarius can't get over it first turn. Warmite can't get over it because Warmite only lowers attack. Kinleo can bop it, but Kinleo can bop anything. So I don't really see him running Isle of Aeolia. Like I said, P-Gust is 2 attack, Exaltair's 3. Hydrake, you don't really want to increase its attack because you want it to go into Twindra and then go into Pantera. So yeah, I don't really see him bringing Isle. But hey, I mean, he could surprise us and bring Isle. But yeah, so this is all that he's got for his options here. Next up, I'm going to show you guys the deck that I'm bringing this week, and yeah, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright guys, so for week 3 against Eagle, I'm going to bring a very similar deck to what I brought week 1 against Baron and his Thunder deck. It's just tweaked a little bit to focus a little more on the runes and how often I get them in my hand. We're only running 12 Alestrals this week. Necruff, 3 Necruff, 3 Kinleo, 3 Warmite, and 3 Volcarius. This is kind of the core of Fire. There's not really a whole lot of good 1-drops in Fire. These are kind of the best of the best. If there was a couple more 1-drop Alestrals in Fire that were better, I might opt to use them, maybe instead of like Hammer of Hephaestus, or I might find a spot for them. But as it stands, I mean, Fire just doesn't really have the 1-cost power. So I'm bringing these 12 right here. Necruff to get over Aeromares and possibly crash with Sorlets. This is just my out to his beefier Lestrals. Kinleo is going to be one of our answers to Falacane. Kinleo gets on board, he can pop Falacane, of course, unless it is enchanted with Aeromare. So if it gets enchanted with Aeromare, then Kinleo is not an option. We have to figure out a different way to kind of get over it. Warmite, reactionary bug. You put it on the field and hope that it stays alive long enough to swing over something with its effect. And Volcaries can ramp up very quickly, just like Tectorus and Earth. It's a very aggro card, right? And that's kind of what Fire does with these 4 cards here. It's pretty aggro. I'm bringing 2 Hephaestus and 2 Hammers. I don't really want to see these a whole lot, but I want to see them enough to where they're useful to me. My core strategy this week is not to use artifacts. My core strategy is going to be to rely on my runes down here. And so 2 and 2. They're basically just here for Kinleo fodder, essentially. Same thing with Volcanic Forge. Eruption, 3 copies of Eruption. If I can get him down low enough, I can pop an Eruption, and yeah, game over. 3 Volcanic Forge. Important to have stadium control, especially in a mono format. If he gets a Sorlet out and I get a Volcanic Forge with a Necrof out, my Necrof can swing over Sorlet. 3 Ambrosia, pretty standard. Again, most decks, every single week, I'm probably going to be bringing 3 Ambrosia. 3 Helios Chariot Rides. So this is again, like I said in week 1, this is kind of my favorite card in the whole set. It allows you to just make huge swings, really get that tempo back. Great card. Standard counter rune lineup: 3 Poison Tip Arrow, 3 Gorgon's Gaze, 3 Shields. Ideally, I would like to have my opening hand have 1 Alestral, 1 Invoke Rune, and at least 2 to 3 counter runes. So I put a lot of counter runes in this week, and not as many like Invoke runes. I have 3 Laurels here, which we'll get to in a second, but I really want to focus on getting my counter runes down. Even though I know he has Falacane, if I can keep his Alestrals off the board, he can't get into Falacane. And one of the most common, in Wind at least, one of the most common ascensions into Falacane is either Sorlet or Aeromare. If he gets a Aeromare on the field in defense, I mean, I don't have anything that can beat over it. Warmite can't get over it. Dropping a Volcaries down can't get over it unless I empower it with a Hammer or Hephaestus or a Forge. So it's going to be really important to get my counter runes out early and stop those Alestrals from being able to stick. And Laurel's here, just, again, just like every other week, it's my answer to not having Earthquake. It's a pretty useful card. I'm actually thinking about running it in my my main deck, and one day I'll show you guys my main deck. But as of right now, we're running Mono Fire, so resting on your laurels it is. Here's my sideboard. I do have a Blazerus and a Leonite in the sideboard. This is just kind of depending on what I see. Game 1, I might slot in one of these 2. If I see that he's running a lot of Invoke runes and, he's circling the sky and he's Laurelsing, and I might run Leonite. If I see that he's playing a very defensive strategy, I might go into Blazerus. It just all kind of depends. Drops a Leaf and Nectar. If I'm playing my games and I'm not seeing the cards I want, I'll find a spot for these 2. Pandora's Box. This is another tech-in for his Divine Rune. Aeolus. Aeolus gives you a free search. Well, not free. You have to expend 2 off of him, but it's essentially free. To search for any 1-drop Wind Alestral. So that's what makes Wind so toolboxy, and this will stop that after the disenchant off of Aeolus, which is really cool. Altar of Stars, this is kind of my answer for not having a Tsunami. It's not as powerful as Tsunami, but I can do some shenanigans with it if I find that he's just kind of out-tempoing me. Slot in some Altar of Stars. But yeah, that's it. I'm really looking forward to this week. I think we have a good chance. Wind is probably my most favorable matchup. With that week 1 against Thunder, that was going to be my hardest. I knew that going into it, but week 3 against Wind, this is probably going to be my easiest one. I'm probably going to have a pretty good time against him. I am a little worried about running only 12 Alestrals, because I want to have Alestrals on board, but you know, against a powerhouse like Wind, I really have to have those counter runes down to be able to stop his Celestials. So we kind of, you know, I kind of went back and forth between 12 and, you know, a few more. I was thinking about slotting in Emfrix, but he doesn't really do anything for the aggro strategy. You know, I was thinking about teching in another Waspire just like last week, but it doesn't really fit. So I just kind of stuck with the 12 and we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, so that's it. Watch out for the match on Saturday. Stay enchanted, keep ascending, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.